What it is? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's the Raise Awareness for America fundraising marathon. Yeah, I know it's a tad bit dramatic, I'll admit that. But this is what we got to do to get eyes on the parts of America that need our help. Hit the music. Hello, I'm Tyrus. And just for 39 cents a day, you could do what our government is failing to do. Like help East Palestine, Ohio, or our agents at the southern border. They get less support than a friend who says, let's vacation in Delaware. Or provide Michigan with clean drinking water. There's more heavy metal in there than Greg's record collection. Or help with the homeless in countless American cities. Because most guys camping on the sidewalk aren't trying to get Taylor Swift tickets. Or you could help feed the struggling comedians. Oh, and if you don't, help. Katie, she might return to her former career of clubbing baby seals.
Someone's got to do it.
Now listen, I'm going over the top and making a big deal out of this, like Gutfeld when Boobgate gets an update. So sick of that, am I right, Kat? But hear me out. In all corners of our country, we've got problems where Americans need help. Not to mention an onslaught of crime of mostly peaceful protesters and The View. And what's the federal government or the White House doing? Well, they're busy helping other countries and picking up Hunter Biden's check and tab for whatever the hell he's doing right now. And President Biden, he won't visit the town in Ohio that had a train derail and chemicals spread throughout it. But he's happy to go to Ukraine and give out another $500 million of our tax dollars in aid money. We'll have to borrow missiles from them the next time we're attacked by a hobby balloon. And the VP Harris, she won't go to the border, probably because she'd rather take the magic school bus to the moon.
You guys are gonna see. You're gonna literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is gonna be unbelievable.
With your own eyes. And you got the federal government picking up the travel and hotel bill for illegal immigrants. Like Hunter giving cab fare to a hooker. But cab fare is what he calls money to buy him some more crack. Right. So if the government here isn't going to put its people first, maybe our cities should outsource for some help. Maybe we could spell ad spaces for Relaxium. Or we could ask for a big fat check from Saudi Arabia or China or France. Check that, not France. Never France. Hell, China's buying up half America anyways. Why not ask them for a few bucks? Or better yet, ask them to build us a wall. They've got a great one. Hell, you couldn't even sail a balloon over it. Or maybe we should ask the Mexican military to pitch in at the border. Because remember, the left wanted to throw our agents' horses in the slammer for 5 to 10 years for being racist horses. Biden lied about them using whips like they were Gutfeld's dominatrix. Secret's out, Vito. Now, you might make sense a lot of sarcasm for me right now. Well, you're not psychic, it is. Maybe Mayor Pete is finally going to the Ohio train derailment site tomorrow. I wonder if he'll have an SUV drive him there and then ride the bike the last few blocks. But guess what, Pete? You can finally hand out masks because now they actually need them. Or let's trick Kamala and tell her it's the other Palestine, and maybe then they can get some help. Tell her she can evacuate the residents and lock them up in California. Remember, she was the DA over there. Time flies, right, when you're getting screwed over. The point is, we pay our state taxes for our state. So why are we paying federal taxes to see our federal money go everywhere else but where we need it at home? How about let Americans keep their federal taxes if we're on our own anyway? Or at the very least, a few extra bucks for gas canisters, generators, and relocation expenses many Americans will face. Americans deserve better from Congress and the president. They need to show up for us when it matters most, or at least send us a Dear John letter and let us know we're on our own. Or at least let Americans claim asylum so they can get a spot in a good hotel, food, clothes, and national recognition. Let's welcome tonight's guest. When she says, oh, shoot, she really means it. Fox News contributor Katie Pavlik. He always looks surprised that he's still on the show. Comedian Joe Mackey. For 40 days and 40 nights, that's how long he goes between bookings, writer and comedian Joe DeVito. She wants her tombstone to say, do you hate me right now? Fox News contributor Kat Timm. Kat, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I feel like we've been doing this forever. As a libertarian, I specifically brought up federal taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you're going to support this because it doesn't seem like it's going where it needs to go.
No, and it very rarely does, which is why, again, you have to laugh in someone's face who thinks you're a jerk for saying, oh, we pay too much in taxes, I'm not really going to pay this in taxes. Like, you don't care about supporting people who need it. It's like, no, when are these taxes going to people who need it? And they also just, they lie and they lie. I mean, people have forgotten about this story because people in the government have said, it's okay, it's fine over there, you can drink the water. What I've not seen them do is go there, breathe the air, and drink the water. Which, if that was really true, it would be that simple. Go over there, go to someone's house, turn on the tap, pour yourself a big, tall glass of that water, and drink it.
Yes, and then wait 30 seconds.
But they won't. But they won't. That would be so easy to do, and they won't do it because they know. They know it's not.
Yeah. I believe, Pete said he'd go when the time was right. Or is that when he said he had enough medical staff around him to keep him safe?
You know how I know this administration hates the people of East Palestine is because they're sending Pete Buttigieg to handle the problem after 20 days. I mean, if there any greater punishment than that, I mean, Joe Biden would be a punishment, but they're really just sending the guy who couldn't fill potholes in the town that he was the mayor, right? The vice president's not going. They've acted like this isn't an issue. You know, the federal government does not do a good job of responding to any kind of crisis. You're right about the taxes. But when it comes to solving this particular problem, the EPA's been late. The local government has asked for help from the beginning. They've denied it until President Trump stepped in and actually went there today and said, hey, we're here. We want some help. So, you know, I don't think Pete Buttigieg going is going to help anything. And I think it's actually a slap in the face, as you would say.
Yeah, it is a slap in the face. Or next time you kiss us first, you know what I'm saying? Speaking, it's a classic saying my grandmother taught us. Joe, as a dominatrix and a guy who doesn't take mess from anybody, like, do you think President Trump coming sends a big message to them to get their stuff together? Or is it an excuse for them not to go to do more for them?
Well, first, I'm not thrilled with the segues we've had toward me tonight. It's a little upsetting.
What are you talking about? I got all the letters. It was signed Joe.
I'm glad somebody went. You know, at least Trump showed up. I don't know why Biden didn't go. He's on this world tour. I mean, he's the only person who those chemicals might actually improve his health. So I didn't hear about him having trouble with trains. We know that stairs are a bitch for him, but you could have taken a train there. It's so ridiculous. They're going to send Mayor Pete there. I guess they were holding off. They want to make sure the chemicals didn't taint his breast milk because he likes to go on his child leaves. This shows like what we need to do is we don't need to build a wall around our country because that's not keeping our money from flowing to these other countries because we don't have it to spend. What we need is a dome. We need a dome over the United States so the people who are here, we can sort out our problems. We don't need new people coming in to make things worse, but we just need to settle our own stuff, and at least a dome would keep the balloons out.
I'm with you 1,000%. The only thing I would ask is if we had a giant slingshot so we could open and shoot a few individuals out. But other than that, I'm with you. Joe, you know, if you didn't have to pay your federal taxes, what would you do with that extra cash? Like, how would you help America with the extra bucks you got coming in?
I would donate to your fundraiser as long as I got a Fox Nation tote bag and some Brian Kilmeade remaindered books as part of the deal.
I'll have to work on that.
But I'll have to say, I hope the voters of Ohio and Pennsylvania are paying attention, because they're giving $100 billion to a country that's not in our interest at all, halfway around the world, and all that East Palestine is getting is some free vinyl chloride. That doesn't sound like the actions of a man who knows the suffering caused by oil cancer.
That's oil cancer.
I know, like you don't like taking risks. So if you had the choice to go somewhere where a bomb siren was going off the entire time while you walk the streets, or go to a place that's not even that far of a ride to go check to make sure your American citizens are better, wouldn't you think the safer move would have been to go check on the people in Ohio first?
You would think so. Also because, I mean, politics, unfortunately, is largely pretending that you care. Like, that's such a huge part of it. And it's not that, it shouldn't be that hard to pretend that you care. When this story came out, the first thing that they tried to do was sort of, explain why it wasn't their fault, or, say, oh, it's no big deal, kind of minimize it. I mean, you're asking for what you should be doing, which is actually helping these people. They haven't even gotten to, the pretending to help these people or pretending that they care about these people. They're loud and clear that it seems as though the people who are suffering there are not useful pawns for any of their political narratives. Therefore, they don't really care, and they don't even bother to pretend.
That's a great point that Kat just made. Do you think it's because, Katie, because they're afraid that most of those people vote Republican in that area, that the reason why they had such a laissez-faire reaction to it? Because honestly, if it wasn't for Twitter and Fox, no one would know about this story.
I also think that the skin tone of the people who live in East Palestine is too white for them to care, to be quite honest. But, going back to the point you made about the taxes, we give so much money to the federal government. The government just passed, just with Democrats, $1 trillion in infrastructure, and yet we have infrastructure failing all over the country. The reality is we do need money for infrastructure. We do need the federal government to fix a lot of these things, especially trains that go across state lines the state governments can't fund themselves. But because there's so much corruption in Washington, D.C., and lobbying and special interests, those problems never get solved. And it's in every single aspect of the government, Social Security, other government programs that are supposed to help specific people, and they never do, because they take that money and use it towards their own pet projects. And then, of course, they don't care about certain communities because they're not helpful politically. And for Joe Biden, who was the guy who said, I'm going to be the president for everybody, I'm going to be Mr. Unify, it shouldn't matter that East Palestine is in a Trump district or that Republicans vote there. He should go there for the sake of holding up his own campaign promises and being the president of the United States, not just the president of the Democratic Party.
Or at least, at the very least, fly over and drop like a balloon with a note. Be back soon and check.
Too soon for that.
Give us something, a wave from the window. We'd probably wave on the wrong side. Before we go, you can come see me live. I'll be at the Crowley, Louisiana, April 21st. Houston, Texas, April 23rd. And if I'm still breathing, I'll be in Walla Walla, South Carolina, May 5th. Visit the link tree on my Instagram for tickets.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.